What is up, meal prepping family? It's Bobby, and today we're gonna make some delicious comfort food meal prep because it's cold outside, and I'm gonna conjure up one of my oldest but one of my best recipes that's easy to make and like a hug in a bowl. So I hope you're ready for my beef chili. A beef and bean chili loaded with spices, tomatillos, and tomatoes, and served with a gluten-free, dairy-free cornbread that is the bomb. So if you love straightforward, delicious meal prepping that is easy to make, just click that subscribe, yo. I'm rocking out new recipes every Friday and I want you to be a part of them. This chili is all about building massive flavor on massive flavor. And speaking of massive, I am preheating my largest pot that I have over medium-high heat. I'm gonna drizzle in a couple teaspoons of olive oil. The bottle matches the pot. I love it when that happens. Completely unplanned, but I appreciate it either way. Then I have one onion that I finely diced, that goes in, along with 4 strips of bacon. Now the bacon is kind of like the first flavor booster. It's gonna render down and get all that luscious fat out of there and add such a salty, meaty backbone to this chili. Now pinch in about a half a teaspoon of salt and a few cracks of black pepper. Now here's the deal. I fully meant for this video and recipe to be, dun, da, 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 a slow cooker recipe. So many of you guys have been asking me for a slow cooker recipe, but the truth is I didn't even have one until last week. But it turns out for this recipe, it would take about 8 hours to break down the beef and make it. And Desi and I don't want to be filming this video until 9 o'clock at night. But because I love you guys, I will write the recipe down below in case you're using a slow cooker too. But this beauty will be used in a future video, I promise. I'm gonna grab my electric kettle that's boiling back here with some water. Anytime you wanna speed up the cooking process, use an electric kettle to get water boiling. Just pour that in a small bowl. And then I have 3 mildly spicy chilies. You can use an ancho chili, you can use a chipotle chili. These are actually Bulgarian chilies that Desi's mom sends to us. They have the perfect amount of heat. I'm not sure if it's perfectly legal, but I'm hoping none of you will turn us into the authorities. So drop these guys into the water and just let them rehydrate for about 10 minutes. All right, while that's getting its soak on, we're gonna play a little Flav City trivia. This is a tomatillo. It comes in this cute little husk or this jacket. Do you guys think this is a member of the tomato family or the gooseberry family? Leave your answer down below. All you have to do to get the tomatillos out is peel away the outer skin or the jacket. And then I'm gonna grab a sheet tray. And by the way, my oven is preheating under broil right now. And I'm gonna grab a poblano pepper. I love these peppers because they're not as spicy as like a jalapeno or a serrano. They're more fruity. It's a really great starter chili. Toss these on the sheet tray, and I'm gonna pop these under the broiler for about 5 to 10 minutes until they're blistered all over. All right, it looks like the bacon and the onions have given up their love, so I'm gonna get them out of the pot. Dude, bacon and onions, the smell in the kitchen is amazing. This needs to be like the fragrance of the year for men. Chicks will go wild, I'm telling you. Okay, now we're gonna take the beef. This is 1.5 pounds of beef stew meat, AKA chuck roast. It's a very economical, tough cut of meat that benefits from a low and slow cooking process because all that meat will fall apart and get super tender, and that's exactly what I'm going for in this chili. So I'm cranking the heat up to medium high, and I'm gonna add all that beef to the same pot, and then pinch over a good teaspoon of salt and a few cracks of pepper. Let's add 1 shot of oil, and then I'm gonna spread this meat out into one even layer and just let it do its thing and sear. Now listen, I'm talking to all my fellow lazy butts out there. There's a part of me that wants to skip this process because it takes a good 10 minutes. The oil might splatter out, creating more mess for me later on. But you can't be a lazy butt this time because the browning is gonna create so much flavor, I can't even begin to tell you. In the meantime, let's check on the broiler, and you can see it's getting nice and brown. Just flip over the tomatillos and rotate the peppers. All right, we got lots of amazing aromas going in here. The broiler's working, the beef is browning. Now let's make our flavor bomb that's gonna make this chili next level. So, to my buddy Chopper Jr. here, I'm gonna take spices. First up, ancho chili powder. I'm gonna measure a tablespoon and dump it in. A tablespoon of smoked paprika, a tablespoon of cumin, a teaspoon of oregano. And then to round out the flavors, I'm gonna grab a little bit of cinnamon. I love adding cinnamon in chilies. It just tickles your taste buds in all the right places. So go in with like a quarter teaspoon. All right, before we carry on with the flavor bomb, let's check the beef here. Beautiful. That's what I wanna see when I turn the pieces over like that. You see all that color. That browning, you guys, has insane flavor. Then add 3 cloves of garlic. And then let's go back to our chilies that have been soaking. Now check this out, you guys. See how they're more pliable now? They rehydrated, so they're not as fragile and they're not as dry. So I'm gonna plunk out each one and add it to the chopper and then pour some of that liquid in here to help bring everything together. Just slap the lid on and blend away. All right, now this ain't no salsa you wanna go dipping tortilla chips in, but this is a flavor bomb. Let me push my bomb aside and then grab the peppers and tomatillos out of the broiler. All right, this is what you wanna see, you guys. Look how those tomatillos have kind of like burst, got nice and charred all around it. The skin on the poblano looks like a wrinkly old man. That is what you wanna see. All right, then drop the tomatillos in the chopper and then using cold water, get all the seeds out of the poblano and try to pick away as much of the burnt skin as possible. And then drop the poblano in the chopper, and then slap the lid on and blend it away one more time. All right, the hard work is done for the chili. The rest of it is easy breezy. So go ahead and pour your flavor bomb into the pot. Then go in with the onions and the bacon. And then go in with 14 ounces of canned tomatoes that are chopped. Now, I love me some beans. They're high in protein, they're high in fiber, they're the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. And even though it ain't Texas style to put beans in chili, I do it. So I have 1 cup of beans that were dried. I soaked them overnight and cooked them, and now they go in. Now, this pot needs some liquid, so let's go in with a good drink of water. All right, my witch's brew is coming to the boil, and we did just add a big amount of bland water, so let's season this with about a half a teaspoon of salt. And then, as Tom Petty said, the waiting is the hardest part. Give it one last stir, and then slap on the lid for 2 hours. If you were doing a slow cooker at this point, it might be 6 to 7 hours, and that is waiting a little too long. In the meantime, we can get cracking on the gluten-free, dairy-free cornbread. This is one of my most legendary recipes ever. And forget about the fact that it's gluten-free, dairy-free. It just is the best cast iron skillet cornbread you will ever have, and this is how you do it. Add 1 1/3 cup of medium grind cornmeal to a bowl, and then go in with 3/4 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour mix and 3 tablespoons of sugar. Add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a healthy pinch of salt. Give it a mix up and move it aside. For the wet team, add 1 1/3 cups of unsweetened almond milk to a bowl, along with the juice of 1 lemon to make it sour like buttermilk. Go in with 7 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, and then crack 2 eggs into the mixture. Give it a really good whisk up, and then pour the wet batter on top of the dry, and then use a spatula to mix everything very well. Next, go in with 1 cup of frozen corn kernels and 1 4-ounce can of Mexican green chilies that are drained. Give it one more good mix, and then grab your cast iron pan from the preheating oven, pour 1 tablespoon of coconut oil and melt it all around, and then add your batter to the pan and smooth it out to 1 even layer. Chuck that baby back into the oven and bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes. All right, you guys, it's been 30 minutes and it looks like what bakers call golden brown and delicious, but the only way to know for sure if it's done is take ye old poking stick and stab it right in the center. And if it comes out clean, just like that, we're set. All right, I'm gonna push the cornbread aside so it can cool down. In the meantime, it's been 2 hours exactly on my giant pot of chili. Let's take a peek inside here. I did stir it a few times while it was cooking. Oh, the aromas coming out of this pot right now are so legit, it's crazy. So this is the point where I take the beef and just kind of mush it against the side of the pot here, and that'll make it not so chunky monkey, and it'll make the chili a lot thicker. And then after you mash it for a minute, look at that texture. See, it immediately thickened up really nice. You have a much more creamy, dreamy. Whoa, there was a ton of flavor going in there. The beef just melts in my mouth. Those beans are creamy, but it's a little too acidic. We have tomatoes in there, we have poblano peppers in there, we have tomatillos in there. So this could be my favorite and best tip of all time. I take my big jar of honey, of course my Bulgarian honey that Desi's mom sends over. Another thing that might be highly questionable when it comes to the legalities, but it's highly delicious. I take a good tablespoon and just plunk it into the chili. And the honey just balances out all the flavors perfectly. Also, during the cooking process, I adjusted the seasoning about halfway by adding more salt, but now would be the last time you want to add more salt if it needs it. Time to ladle a big old bowl for myself, and then go crazy with any garnishes you want. And then grab a big slice of cornbread and plate that bad boy up too. Oh my God, you guys, that chili is creamy, beefy, a little spicy, perfect seasoning all throughout, but it's not whole without trying it with a little bit of cornbread. Wow. The moisture on this cornbread is next level. The fact that it's gluten-free, dairy-free is crazy because it's moist, it's creamy, the corn is popping, the chilies have a little bit of spice. This together is the ultimate comfort food that you'll be so happy you made for meal prep because you'll want to crush it every single day this week. The recipe is down below, like it always is, with the storage, reheating, the macros. Make sure you sub to my channel for 2 more awesome videos. Check out the ones below me, but I'll see you next Friday like I always do. #keep on cooking. Peace out.